Today on CityCast Madison. Milwaukee Judge Janet Protasiewicz, one of the liberals in the Wisconsin Supreme Court race, she was the big winner in this week's primary election. She'll face former Justice Dan Kelly, a conservative, in the April general election. In the race for Madison mayor, incumbent Satya Rhodes Conway had a strong showing. And we have the winners of Madison's snow plowing contest. It's Friday, February 24th. I'm Dylan Brogan, and here's what Madison's talking about. It's Friday, and that means we're rounding up the news, and I'm joined by, who else? Bianca Martin. Hi, Bianca.
Hey, Dylan.
You know, to this day, and it's like a curse, that song, Friday, party and every Friday. That's just how I wake up, like, looking forward to the weekend.
Oh, my gosh.
So,
the Rebecca Black curse.
I wish that was not true. It is 100% real. So, happy Friday to Rebecca Black.
Happy Friday, Rebecca.
But we don't got time for that. We got an election to talk about. A primary was on Tuesday.
Big news.
The top ticket race was the state Supreme Court race. A lot of things going on. And I'll tell you, there are a lot of Republican insiders who are shaking in their boots, Bianca. This is not a good night if you are a Wisconsin conservative.
Yeah.
So Janet Protasiewicz, we interviewed her. She's the liberal candidate. She really dominated the election. She got 45%, which is a lot in this primary with 4 contestants. Dan Kelly, who is a former justice on the Supreme Court. He was the conservatives' pick. He had a kind of an ugly fight with another conservative in the primary, but he squeaked over. And, you know, there was another candidate from Dane County, Judge Everett Mitchell, and he didn't do that great, to be honest. It turns out it wasn't really a contest for the liberals versus conservatives. And the top 2 move forward into the April election. And now things are going to get real ugly.
Yeah, it was a ton of voters. It was a huge showout, which is, you know, always exciting for democracy. But of course, any election, people are going to be disappointed if their candidate didn't do as well as they thought. And like you said, Janet really took the gold. I just feel like she shows this no-nonsense confidence that really stands out. Like, it reminds me of, regardless of your opinion of this woman's politics, former U.S. Ambassador Nikki Haley saying, with all due respect, I don't get confused. So I know, like, the idea of the fact that Janet is a woman, and I'm sure she will face some sexism about her competency, and I feel like she's going to handle that with a lot of oomph.
Yeah, and it's interesting thing that happens in politics, right? Where maybe it's not about the individual, but if someone is just seen as the person who's going to win, it's like a herd mentality a little bit, right?
Absolutely. She had the backing of the Democratic establishment, of course.
Well, that really helped, didn't it, in this race?
Yeah. It also helped for Dan Kelly, obviously, because he is, I would say, more of the establishment, sort of, from what I understand, kind of in the weeds. I don't want to say in the weeds, talking about swamps, but he's deeply a part of the GOP space.
Well, and you saw that in the results from outside of the big Republican strongholds all over the state. Dan Kelly, except really the Milwaukee area, Dan Kelly did well. Mm-hmm. His competitor, Jennifer Darrow, who kind of was a household name because she was the judge in that Waukesha Christmas parade trial and got a lot of praise from not just Republicans, but Milwaukee Talk Radio was like, are we really going to vote for the guy who lost by 10 points 3 years ago? So they were really pulling for Darrow, and you could see it in Waukesha County and Washington County. But other than that, clearly the influence of the strong influence of Milwaukee Talk Radio wasn't a factor.
He's also served on the court before. He was appointed, but I wonder if that gives him any points, the fact that he's been there before. That's sort of my thought.
Well, here are the things that are not looking good for Dan Kelly. Primaries in February tend to be less of a turnout. Mm-hmm. He got 50% last time in the primary. And then he went on to lose to Justice Jill Karofsky 55-45. Well, this time, Janet, if you combine her and Everett's total, it looks like the Democrats and the justice they want is more like 5 points higher. Mm-hmm. And The New York Times called this the most important race in 2023. What's on the ballot? Abortion's on the ballot. Gerrymandering's on the ballot. And in the not so recent past, it used to be all about law enforcement and who was fair. And now it's like a straight up partisan contest.
Right. And that's kind of the thing, is this super high stakes election, and it's supposed to be officially nonpartisan. It's really partisan. There's no surprise there. It did stand out to me. We, talked to both Judge Janet and Judge Everett Mitchell. And it stood out to me when Judge Mitchell had said, it's really the media that paints us as kind of liberal or conservative, and then we have to reckon with that when we're talking to the media. But it clearly is a partisan race because of the issues like you mentioned.
I think Republicans, never say never, I think they're in a little bit of trouble here because, man, Dems got the money. And let's talk about Dane County, too. More people voted in Dane County than Milwaukee County. There's about 1 million people in Milwaukee County and about a little less than 600,000 in Dane. That's crazy. And then you look at the totals, it's like 83% are voting for on the liberal side of things. The conservatives can't even crack 20% in Dane County. This is a huge part of an ongoing strategy by the Democrats where Dane County is like absolutely essential to winning these statewide races and maybe changing Wisconsin from a purple state back to a blue state.
Wouldn't that be something? Minnesota's been looking over here blue as can be with all their lakes, and we're blue, but we've been deeply purple for some time. It's interesting thinking about who has backing and that sort of thing. I feel like on the Democratic side, it feels like some things got a little toxic around the idea of electability and who could win. I don't know. I'm not the first person to say that, but I was kind of disappointed in the language around Judge Everett Mitchell's candidacy early on, like whether or not he could win. And just hearing that Dane County had such a show out, it always does. He's a Dane County Circuit Court judge.
Yeah, he needed a win big here, and he just didn't have the numbers.
Right. Well, yeah, and it seems like, some time ago, Janet kind of got the backing of the Democratic establishment. And I don't know, it's just to clarify what I'm speaking about, early on, there were these questions about whether he could win and pointing to the fact that he is a Black man and pointing to the fact that Mandela Barnes had just run in the Senate race, who is also a Black man and had racist ads put out against him. And I don't know, I think the whole discussion is really fraught, and I feel like it's fair. People are talking about the dog whistle that are out there. I do feel like it did impact the primary because Judge Everett Mitchell has a point that he got a little bit of an unfair shake in terms of the discussion around his candidacy. Like, if you're just talking about the color of his skin.
What do you do in that situation, though? It's just like when it comes up, can a Black man win a statewide election in Wisconsin? And then if there's any question about that, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right?
Right. It really seems that way. And I'm just disappointed because I heard from some Madison women's reproductive rights advocates that Mitchell's been a huge champion for reproductive rights. I didn't hear that at all in the election because I heard a lot about the color of his skin.
Well, if Everett Mitchell is going to blame the media a little bit, then I'm going to blame the fact that his campaign strategy just like completely imploded on him. Former Governor Jim Doyle endorsed him. Former Justice Louis Butler, who was the first African-American appointed to the Wisconsin Supreme Court, he endorsed Everett Mitchell. He was a serious candidate. And then, there was kind of a bad story. And everyone's like, ooh, can this guy win? And then it was like, whew, everybody left the room.
Yeah. It's just, obviously this race has a lot of national attention too. And I saw a Politico article out about, saying Black candidates are losing nationwide. And their campaigns are saying it's in part on account of the Democratic Party's infrastructure. That Mandela Barnes was actually, he was 1 point away from ousting an incumbent, Senator Ron Johnson, if you're, looking at it from the Democratic lens. And that's despite claims that maybe he didn't have the full backing in terms of fundraising. So it obviously stinks thinking about Wisconsin's record for its Black residents.
The Wisconsin Democrats got to figure that thing out. Because right now,
I agree.
Whoever you voted for in this election, there's just something that people know is kind of wrong.
It just, no me gusta. I'm shaking my head.
I'm putting this on the Dems. They gotta figure this out and give everyone a good reason to vote. We've already talked about this race, so let's
a lot. Let's move on.
Yeah, we gotta move on. Let's just sum it up real quick. Judge Janet, a nice Polish woman from Milwaukee, is the liberal choice for the Supreme Court, and Dan Kelly, former justice, is the conservative pick. Republicans are freaking out because this election was not exactly a good sign of the strength of their candidate, and we'll see what happens next.
Hey, it's Friday. If you have friends coming over, have a dinner party planned, or just feel like getting fancy this weekend, let me tell you about one of my favorite places, Cork and Bottle. It's the locally owned liquor store on East Johnson near the corner of Johnson and Patterson. And it's by far my favorite go-to spot. I love finding new things there. Like I just picked up an Icelandic vodka and a tasty herbaceous gin from a local distillery. They've got pretty wines from around the world, funky local beers, and top-shelf agave selections for us tequila fans in the house. If it's unique or obscure, they're probably into it. And honestly, they feel like family to me at this point. Shout out to Gregory, you keep me coming back. And I found out that you can bring your dog. So now all I need is a dog. Cheers.
The mayoral race, also very fun. Masson mayoral race, Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway. Hard to argue, she had a really great night too. She wanted to crack 60%. That was there was no polling in these local races, this local mayoral race. She almost cracked it. It was 59.5. So she would have been happy with just winning, but 60% was a good sign. Gloria Reyes, she's got a lot of work to do. And I think she's got some money that she clearly has been waiting to spend in the general. But Satya is the incumbent. Gloria Reyes was probably smart enough to realize that she's probably not going to beat her in the primary, but she wanted to see above 30%. And so when you have no polling, and this is kind of a gauge of where the election stands, the mayor is, I'm not going to say she's walking away with it, but Gloria's got to really do something.
Well, it seems like, just coming off of the Supreme Court discussion, there are more people who are going to be voting in this election, and there was a bump in terms of the amount of people who turned out just because probably of this huge SCOTUS thing. And
the same is true in April.
Do you think that, I was going to ask you, do you think that giving that attention is going to really impact city politics?
I'm not sure how it will. I mean, I think there'll be probably double the amount of voters in April than there were in this primary, and that factors in statewide a little differently than it does in the city. But I think the mayor is in a strong position and has been very clear about what she wants to do. Some of it's controversial. There was a third candidate, Scott Kerr, and he only spent $100. He was like, I'm not taking any political donations. He jumped into the race way later, on the day of the deadline in January, and he got 11%, 12% of the vote. That means, who are the Scott Kerr voters?
Yeah, where are those 8,000 votes going to go?
I don't know. I don't think they all go to Gloria Reyes. Do you?
I have no clue. I know Reyes is kind of pointing out the fact that a challenger has been beaten, or a challenger has beaten an incumbent in the general election before. That was just 4 years ago. Yeah,
but that was Satya.
I know, but she's using Satya's story to be like, I'm still in the race. I'm going to work harder, knock on more doors. I really don't know where Scott's voters are going to go. Let us know if you're listening and you're Scott.
Yeah, please. Here's my dumb theory that isn't based on anything. Okay, so Scott Kerr voters, they probably knew both who the mayor was and who Gloria Reyes is. And we're like, I'm not sure I want to vote for the mayor. I'm not sure I like some of the changes she's made. But I don't want to vote for the competitive challenger either. Anyway, we have Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway and the challenger, former school board president Gloria Reyes, coming up on the show docket. So look out for episodes so you can learn more about those candidates. And hey, you know what side we're on in terms of Masson mayoral race? Competitive battle of ideas. So that's what we want.
100%. 100%.
Yes.
This is, democracy right in front of us, and we're getting in deep. We're digging in.
Fun mayoral race coming up is the point, and we'll see. I think Gloria Reyes, hey, she is a well-known, established politician in Madison. I wouldn't count her out, but got to step it up. So we'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks, right?
Well, we'll be talking to him, so.
Yes. All right. Well, hey, it's not all about elections. Did any news come by your way that made you sad or angry or put a smile on your face or?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, elections are a reflection of, us bringing in our candidates who can hopefully make our lives better. And there are obviously tons of people on the ground every day. Nonprofits. Madison is a city of nonprofits. And we have some exciting news. Centro Hispano is going to have a new home, a brand new headquarters, which is, it's a pretty cool story too. And because they have partnered with the city of Madison because basically they have shared mutual interests around the plans for development on Madison South Side. So there's like a land swap deal and a building purchase. The city purchased Centro's old building. And I'm just really thrilled. Centro, if you don't know, they serve thousands of Latinx residents here in Madison. And the new facility is going to be a boom, like for them to be able to expand services. And I'm thrilled.
Wasn't there also some news about the upcoming Black Business Hub making some progress too?
You better believe it. So yes, the Black Business Hub, around South Park Street is also closing in on its fundraising goal for their new space. They just announced a $2.5 million donation from the Ascendium Education Group, which is a local student loan company.
Oh, I know all about them.
Oh, you do?
Will you tell me if I'm just being a little petty here?
Okay.
Good for them, that student loan company giving the Black Business Hub $2.5 million, but I don't know. It seems like a lot of people would be helped out if they lowered their interest rates a little bit.
Ooh.
Is that too much? It's like I don't think you get absolved. I mean, good for them for helping out in a positive way towards the community, but I don't know. How much money are you making over there?
Interesting.
On interest rates.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, I think there should be something said about, in general, like when people are donating big amounts of money and they're also making a lot of money. I think that's a really fair thing to ask about. I mean, obviously, first and foremost, very excited for the Urban League of Greater Madison to get more money closer. Yeah. They're like getting, closing in on their goal, but
no, I don't. I'm putting them separate. They don't really have anything to do with it. I just more like every time I hear about a student loan company, I'm just like,
That's fair. I mean, all of us, a generation of just student loan saddled old bags that were just weighing us down. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm taking a very unpopular decision of going after a student loan company. So come at me.
Well, we're going to share some hot, spicy tea sometimes here.
Yes.
So.
Well, Friday wouldn't be Friday without a fun way to end things. And hey, and thank you for telling us about some good news. That sounds like some real progress is being made in an area town that is, really becoming just a force on its own, which is great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. All the money.
Yes. Okay. Hey, I'm glad we make a big deal out of this. Remember that contest to name all the snowplows, 4 different snowplows? How
could I forget? Snowplows are on my mind.
I just think back to our snowplow episode and how wonderful Margie is, right? Wasn't she just the best?
She's just a snow angel.
That's exactly what she is. So results are in. There was a contest the city had about basically naming 4 different kinds of snowplows. So the quad axle brine truck, the winner was
Saltimus Prime. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
I need to see more of those Transformer movies. I don't. Okay,
I know it's Megan Fox and metal and running and flames.
You know what was cool about this context? They had ranked choice voting.
That is, we've been excited about that. If you guys haven't already heard, we're pretty excited about that.
Yes, that should happen in all elections, including snowplow ones. Okay, now the snowplow that is for the bike path, the trackless one, it kind of looks like a bulldozer, a little one that you ride around in. The name of that one will be
Snowby-Wan Kenobi.
All right, good, pretty good pun.
Pretty good fun. Have my little Yoda bobblehead right in front of me.
All right, now with a huge loader with a plow and wing. So this is like a dump truck that has a big plow on it. The name of that will be?
Seymour Pavement.
Now that's a solid pun.
Puns are a defect in the brain.
Yes.
I read somewhere.
And finally, the dual wing plow truck. The winning entry was?
I'm going to say this is my favorite. Speaking of snow angels, it's, I don't know, it should be a country song. The winner is Dolly Plowton. Oh, Dolly.
You know what would be really awesome? We saw this with Lizzo when they named a snowplow after her in Minneapolis, I think it was. Are we going to get some cool Dolly Parton shout out to Madison for this?
I hope we do. That would be pretty sweet.
Oh, this is kind of funny. This is what it says on the city's website. Dolly Parton is the best little plow truck in Madison, working much longer hours than just 9 to 5. It is known for creating the wintry favorites, I Will Always Plow You. That got that went in a way I read that weird.
I will. No, it's fine.
You
didn't
know
read
the
it
actual
weird.
song.
They set you up.
I will always plow you.
Yeah, you were set up.
And this one is very innocent. Snowleen.
Yeah,
right.
Watch out, Snowleen.
A lot of puns going on. All right, that was fun. That was fun. City of Madison, naming plows. I like it.
Yes.
Bianca Martin, thank you for joining me today. And yeah, another great week of CityCast, and we'll catch you on the flip flop.
Catch you on the flip.
That's all for today here on CityCast Madison. Our host is Bianca Martin, and this podcast is produced by Molly Stentz and me, Dylan Brogan, with additional help this week from Lizzie Goldsmith. Music is by Carl Christensen. If you enjoyed today's show, why not tell fans of Rebecca Black about us? She's still around? You can also get more news delivered straight into your inbox from our friends at Madison Minutes. We'll be back Monday morning with more news from around Madison. CityCast out.
Tarot.
Don't do that. You're going to jinx us.
Tarot is not a jinxy sort of
What
thing.
if we pull up a terrible card? We're not doing that. We're not ready for that. We don't have time for that.